All right, so let's dive in. Today we're unpacking something really fascinating. It's called the Pramod effect. And it's this holistic framework from Dr. Pramod Ambadasrao Pawar.
It is. And what's so interesting is that it doesn't just look at astrology or numerology separately. The whole mission here is to unify them, to bridge that gap, between the stuff we can measure and this bigger superconscious reality.
That's the foundation.
Yeah.
What's the starting point for all of this?
The core premise is that everything, and I mean everything, is conscious energy in perpetual motion. That's the blueprint. It's the one principle that underpins both the numbers in numerology and the cosmic cycles in astrology. It makes them one system.
Okay, so if it's all just energy, how does that actually show up in our life? I mean, in a practical sense.
Well, that's where Dr. Pawar brings in the concept of duality. Every single force has two modes of expression. There's the +1 mode, that's your constructive energy, harmony, growth.
Then this is the other side, the Nemiga-1 mode.
Exactly. The Nemiga-1 mode, which he calls shadow energy, resistance, negation, all that stuff.
Which immediately makes you think bad, right?
Yeah.
Negative equals bad.
Right, but that's the crucial distinction here. The framework is very clear that shadow energy is not inherently negative. Think of it as potential energy. It's resistance that's just waiting to be turned into an insight.
I think there's a quote in the source material about that.
There is. Every object carries a shadow. Every shadow carries insight. It's a core axiom.
This is where the numbers come in. And well, it's a little counterintuitive. It's all about the number 0.
Mm-hmm. 0, which, in our modern math is often just a placeholder, an absence of value. But not here. Here, 0 is supreme. It's the ultimate merger of all those dualities we just talked about.
And the source of all the other numbers. He calls it the emerger.
Yes, and this is where it gets really metaphysical. There's a formula that defines its role. It goes 1 minus 1 equals 0 point equals 1.
Okay, break that down. 1, 1 equals 1. Makes sense.
Yeah.
But how does 0 equal 1?
So when the constructive +1 and the negating -1 cancel out, they resolve into 0, the reset point. But 0 isn't a dead end, it's the source. So that resolution immediately allows the next +1 cycle to emerge. Negation and rebirth are a single, inseparable act.
It's a constant loop. So how does this engine, how does it affect something like astrology? Because that sounds less like math and more like fate.
Well, it totally reframes it. Astrology stops being about a fixed destiny. The planets aren't dictators, they're energetic guides, and their energy also works in those +1 and megasum modes.
So like the sun, for example.
Exactly. The sun's +1 energy could be leadership, vitality, but its -1 shadow might be, arrogance or a dominant ego. True astrology in this system is about consciously aligning with those patterns, not just being a victim of them.
And that alignment happens inside a specific cycle, the superconscious cycle from 0 to 9. It's a flow, right? Like 1 is initiation, you move through 4, which is about order.
Then on to 9 for completion before you hit that critical reset at 0. It's a map of consciousness.
So how can you, the listener, actually use this?
It comes down to what the system calls carry numbers. These are basically your personal vibrational codes from your birth date, things like that. By understanding your codes, you can consciously choose to amplify your +1 energy, especially when you feel that -1 resistance. You get to co-create your reality instead of just reacting.
So when you boil it all down, the real takeaway seems to be a shift in perspective. It's about moving from just, being pushed around by life to consciously aligning with these deeper universal laws.
That's it. Recognizing that it's all one thing. Energy, numbers, consciousness, it's all running that same 1 minus 1 equals 0 equals 1 loop.
A unified force.
A unified force. So, to leave you with a final thought, the whole system defines 0 as a kind of karmic reset. So the question to ask yourself is this: what unresolved duality, what piece of resistance in your life right now could you consciously allow the power of 0 to absorb and reset today so your next +1 cycle can begin?